Sterling and Cross, the London Zero Chronograph. The blinding white light didn't fade so much as it shattered, leaving Arthur Sterling and Bibi Cross gasping for air that tasted like ozone and wet coal. The roar of the Amazon jungle was replaced by a silence so heavy it made their ears ring. Bibi's knuckles were white as she gripped the steering wheel of the Aston Martin. She blinked, squinting through the windshield. They weren't in the jungle anymore. They were parked in the middle of Westminster Bridge, but the Thames below was a stagnant, glowing violet. "Arthur," Bibi whispered, her voice cracking. "Tell me I'm hallucinating. Tell me we're still in the cave and I just ate a bad mushroom." Arthur stepped out of the car, his leather brogues clicking on pavement that felt as cold as dry ice. He looked up. The sky wasn't blue, nor was it the black of night. It was a shimmering, static gray, like a television tuned to a dead channel. Big Ben stood tall before them, but its four faces were gone, replaced by massive, glowing digital displays, all frozen at 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. "The London Zero Chronograph," Arthur murmured, his eyes wide behind his cracked spectacles. "Time hasn't just stopped, Bibi. It's been archived." They began to walk, leaving the idling Aston Martin behind. The city was a graveyard of moments. A red double-decker bus was frozen mid-turn, its passengers visible through the glass like wax figures in a museum. A pigeon was suspended in midair above them, its wings locked in a graceful downbeat. "Look at their faces," Bibi said, pointing to a businessman frozen in the act of checking his watch. "They aren't scared. They didn't even see it coming." "Because for them, it hasn't happened yet," Arthur explained, touching the stone railing of the bridge. It felt like glass. "We are walking through a single nanosecond stretched into eternity. The Aston Martin didn't just move us through space, it acted as a needle, piercing the fabric of this specific moment." They reached the doors of the Palace of Westminster. The massive oak portals were guarded by two beefeaters, motionless as statues. But as Bibi reached out to touch a uniform, she noticed something that chilled her blood. Behind the frozen guards, inside the shadows of the archway, something was moving. It wasn't a person. It was a blur of geometric shapes, a flickering silhouette that seemed to vibrate at a different frequency than the rest of the world. It moved with a jerky, stop-motion gait, gliding toward them. "Arthur, we have company," Bibi hissed, reaching into her trench coat for a compact stun baton she'd kept hidden. The figure stepped into the gray light. It was wearing a suit that looked like it was woven from fiber optic cables, and where a face should have been, there was only a reflective visor. It held a device that resembled a pocket watch, but the gears were spinning in 3 different directions at once. "Discrepancies detected," a metallic, multi-tonal voice rang out. "Units Sterling and Cross are out of sync. Correction required." "Correction?" Bibi yelled. "I've had enough of being corrected today. Who are you?" The figure didn't answer. It raised the device and the world around them began to stutter. The frozen pigeon overhead flickered and reappeared 3 feet to the left. The violet river suddenly flowed backward for a second before snapping back to a standstill. "It's a chronometer," Arthur realized. "He's trying to delete our presence from this second." "Bibi, the car, the radio!" They scrambled back toward the Aston Martin as the pavement beneath them began to turn translucent. The correction unit pursued them, its footsteps sounding like glass breaking. Bibi dived into the driver's seat and cranked the radio dial. The static was gone. The voice of future Arthur was clearer now, urgent and breathless. "If you can hear me, the archive is a trap. The chronograph wasn't built to save London. It was built to hide the heist. They didn't steal the car to open a door. They stole the second to hide the vault." "Look at the watch, Arthur. Look at the watch." The figure reached the car, pressing its gloved hand against the window. The glass began to frost over instantly. "Arthur, what watch?" Bibi screamed, flooring the accelerator. The tires spun on the frozen air, catching grip on the static of the road. Inside the lid was an inscription. "Property of the Meridian Syndicate. Subject, Arthur Sterling. Year, 1888. As the Aston Martin surged forward, breaking the stutter and plunging into a tunnel of light once more, Arthur looked at Bibi. "Bibi, the Syndicate, it was my family's firm before it became Sterling and Cross. My great-grandfather didn't just study time, he sold it. The car didn't return to the jungle. It didn't return to 2026. The light faded to reveal a cobblestone street lit by gas lamps. The air was thick with the smell of coal smoke and horse manure. Standing directly in their path was a man who looked exactly like Arthur, but with a cruel, jagged scar across his eye and a black cane topped with a silver wolf's head. He smiled, checked a gold pocket watch, and tipped his hat. "You're late," the man said. "The auction for the 21st century has already begun." Behind him, a fleet of Aston Martins, hundreds of them, all identical, lined the foggy street as far as the eye could see. To be continued. What happens when Arthur meets the man who built his legacy on the theft of time? Can Bibi navigate a Victorian London where the future is being sold to the highest bidder? Find out in the next mystery. Sterling and Cross, the Auction of Ages.